Thank you for the introduction and appreciate the opportunity to present at the Resources Rising Star Conference. It's our first time as Kingston and presenting Misima, and I'll talk you through the story and the strategy, a bit of the history, and I'm sure you'll appreciate where we are and where we're going today. So we've got the two gold projects, Misima Gold Project in PNG, currently 3.2 million ounces of gold plus nice 18 million ounces of silver. It's an extensive mining history. So the project operated for 15 years. It was a high margin asset for Placer in the 80s and 90s, and actually closed in 2004 and hasn't really been worked or operated or drilled since then. Our pre-feasibility study is underway and due this quarter, so basically in the coming weeks. Drilling is busy. We got going after COVID-19 restrictions in early October, and both rigs are now ramped up and underway with the 8,000 metre program. So that's predominantly infill drilling, but also some extension drilling, and then we'll move on to more exploration after that 8,000 metre program. So our aim with Misima is to re-establish it as the next low-cost gold producer in Asia Pacific. And Livingstone, WA, very exciting project, high grade in the Bryah Basin near Meekatharra. It has played sort of second fiddle to Misima because of the pure size of Misima, but it's just as exciting project. I'll talk you through that today. We've just completed 2 drilling programs there, and there's plenty of results in the labs which are pending, so we're looking forward to getting those out. We are looking at targeting and growing the resource at both Homestead and Kingsley on that tenement, but there are multiple exploration targets which I'll talk to you about. In terms of the capital structure, so they're 26 cents at the moment, 230 million shares on issue, about a 60 million market cap, cash balance of 6.8 million at the current quarter. Board and management are very focused on developing and building a gold company. So Tony Wiebe, our chairman, he was the chairman of YTC, which became AMI today for 10 years and presided over the development of Hera. Mick Wilkes from Oceana Gold, he's built and operated 4 gold mines under Oceana over the last 10 years. Stuart Reckner is a geologist. I'm a mining engineer, West Australian, so it would be nice to be over in Perth with you at the moment, but obviously can't get there. And Chris Drew's our CFO. He has a strong background in equity markets and financing. And Stuart in Gold Coast, who's been introduced to you there, is our chief geologist, extensive experience with Newcrest and BHP, and has been involved now with Misima for the last couple of years, so can answer all the questions there in the Gold Coast. Top 20 owns about 60%, predominantly with the top 3 being Winchester, Delphi and Farjoy. They're high net worth family office individuals or groups, and JP Morgan nominees there as well. So just a bit of history. So over the last 130 years, Misima's been producing gold, and it still does today. So the local landowners produce from alluvial gold workings and artisanal workings. Over the modern production history, so that's Placer to now, it has a 7 million ounce endowment. Where is it? It's an island. So we like to think that we're in our own little economy and ecosystem here at Misima. It's about 600 k's east of Port Moresby. There's a very vibrant community population, which I'll talk about in a minute. Current resources at 3.2 million ounces. We should be expecting both a resource and reserve announcements with the PFS in the coming weeks. It's a brownfields project. As I said before, Placer produced actually just under 4 million ounces of gold from this, average 230,000 ounces per annum for 15 years. So it's very well understood and a highly profitable and successful project. Highly skilled workforce. There's over 20,000 people that live on Misima. Up to 800 people were trained during the Placer days, and a lot of them do FIFO to Lihir, Octeti and Porgera. So there's a experienced and supportive community at Misima. So it's got and great access. So because of the history of the mine, there's a commercial airport, there's 3 flights a week, there's 2 ports, there's a hospital, the schools and infrastructure on the island. So basically we are following in Placer's footsteps, and I talked to that a fair bit, and we will be building a similar sized processing plant at over 5 million tonnes per annum of feed, basically copying the circuit of Placer, We're going to be mining the same open pits, using the same haul road, and basically following their success. So just a bit more detail on it. So as I said, the PFS is due this quarter. It produced for 15 years. So that gives us a lot of brownfields knowledge and a lot of production data. We know exactly metallurgically, geologically, how this performed, how it was operated, what the cost base were, the powder factors. We can even tell you the truck hours and the tyre life over the project. So we've got a good start on the PFS, which, as I said, is due in the coming weeks. The pit, the plant, the camp, the haul road, the port are all unchanged in terms of their locations. So we are going back into disturbed ground, which is going to help with the approval program. The approvals are underway. We've commenced our EIS and our baseline studies. Just on that chart there, it's really interesting to note when the project closed, gold was US $300 an ounce versus where it is today at around high 1800s US an ounce. And that picture there is worth noting too. That's a photo of the processing plant. Looking south down out to the sea, the plant was about 200 metres off the coast. So it had a fantastic operating environment with being basically a bit of a nice beach and fishing available for the workers. So in terms of exploration, this is an exploration story, soon to be development story. We've got 3 million ounces in the Umuna pit already. That pit was 3 kilometres long, about 150 to 200 metres deep in places. It's majority of our current ounces today. We have another area called Quartz Mountain, which is the southern, sort of in the southern section and closer to the plant, where Iwatnona sits, and that's about a 200,000 ounce resource in that today. We have multiple exploration targets to the north in the 4 kilometres of potential strike extension, to the east from Umuna East and around Quartz Mountain there with Arby, which I'll talk to shortly. So a bit more on Umuna as we get into this. As you can see, there's the Whittle optimised shell around the drilling. Base of pit is base of drilling. Average hole depth is around 119 metres on the project. You can see that intersection we got there at 200 odd metres, 40 metres at 3 grams, and 10 grams silver as well. And quite interestingly, a high grade 6 metres at 14. Now, people don't expect that and those sort of numbers from Misima, but it just goes to show that it is a broad, large project with a 1 gram ore body, but it has high grade sections, which is one of the reasons why it outperformed for Placer over 15 years. And this is the prize. This is the focus of where we're heading. We want to get the pit opened up and back mining again. You can see these intersections are still all there to be mined. These holes were drilled by Placer, but still exist today. So 84 metres at 7 is an example. You've got 66 metres at 2, 70 metres at 2, 76 metres at 1. I can go on. So that's really exciting, and obviously the prize for when we restart mining today. Quartz Mountain is a very interesting area because Placer actually found this area when they went looking for road base of all places. And most of the road base went through the mill. So this area produced about 150,000 ounces at 1.8 grams. We've got a starter pit there called Iwatnona, which has got 200,000 ounce resource already. Nice intersections, broad, 10 to 20 metre intersections, that 1 to 2 grams for open pit. You've got to remember that this is one of the key benefits of Placer and Misima's success was the low cost processing, and that's driven by the soft rock, low bond work index and very coarse grind. So we anticipate the grind's going to be around 250 micron. So that'll all come out in the PFS shortly. And then last year in 2019, we made a discovery between Iwatnona and the processing plant. It's about 800 metres away, called Arby. That 23 metres at 2.9 grams from 7 metres down. So we'll be following that up as soon as we've finished the current drill program on infill and extension within the resource. The community, it's interesting. I look at this very simply. Community support's a key to success in every project, whether it's in Australia, Canada or PNG. Without the local support, no project gets up and it affects your approvals. We've got a very simple strategy. We listen to the locals, we understand what their needs and wants are, and we offer employment as much as we can. So our current focus is we have 1 expat, we have 80 odd % Misimans employed, and the other 20% are PNG nationals. So they are guys that do FIFO in and out to the island. So very simple, like I said, listen, understand what they need and not lecture or explain to them what they want, what we think they need, but more about what the community is looking for, and employment. In terms of the timeline and looking forward, this is really only 2020 snapshot, and we'll have to obviously update that as we progress after the PFS. EIS and PFS are underway and due this quarter. Mining studies are very well advanced. The PFS and reserve is literally coming in the next few weeks. I think I've said that a few times now. Drilling now is underway, and we're focusing on resource infill drilling. Now I'm going to change tact and just jump over to WA for a few minutes. So this is the Livingstone Gold Project. It's about 140 k's out of Meekatharra. That tenement is a large, 35 kilometres long sort of potential target. We picked this up in 2016, and the reason we picked it up was because there was a lot of Western mining history and data around the area. And that's led, and before we got involved, there was already a historical resource on Homestead, which is about 50,000 ounces, which is high grade at surface. And we discovered Kingsley, which you can see those intersections there. There's some fantastic numbers, all either at surface or near surface intersections, all in the oxide. Now Kingsley sits at the base of that geochem footprint that you can see there on the map, and that geochem footprint is about 4 kilometres by 4 kilometres, and Kingsley's at the southern boundary of that. So we're very excited about the potential of this, and really are doing a lot of work now to basically highlight the next target in the area as we look for the extension drilling at both Homestead and Kingsley. Winjar's another really interesting prospect on the tenement. It's got some really high grade intersections, but it doesn't have a resource and at the moment is not well understood. So this is an ongoing potential project for the company. Just some cross sections through Livingstone. These are through Kingsley. We've had cross sections up previously for Homestead. You can see there some of these numbers. I mean, on the left, 22 metres at 2.6, 15 metres at 5, 10 at 11, all within shallow oxide resource. On the right there's 20 metres at 2, 21 metres at 2.8 from surface. So it's a pretty interesting project in terms of it's obviously low-cost mining with a low strip and oxide in WA. Where does it sit? Just to give you some more colour, the regional setting is very interesting. It's 140 kilometres out of Meekar. You can see within those radius and circles there's multiple gold projects in the Briar Basin. It's obviously well known for DeGrassa and copper and base metals, but there's also Horseshoe, Fortnum, Bluebird, Andy Well, all within that area, Platonic. So they all sit within the similar geological footprint, and Livingstone's out there on that western limb. So it's quite an interesting prospect. In terms of peer comparisons, the valuation, obviously every investor should make their own view up, but here's some comparisons and the reason why we think we're a compelling investment today. You can see on the right the size of our resource, 3.2 million ounces, which we are 100% of. So, and we expect that to grow. And on the left, that's my challenge every day, is to increase that EV per ounce of multiple, their EV per ounce of resource, and progress up that chart. We think the PFS materially de-risks us and moves us in that direction. You can see the dark blue lines there, they're the guys with PFSs. So just in summary and key takeaways, it's an exceptional large-scale open pit opportunity at Misima. We think it will be one of the next gold projects in the Asia Pacific region. It's significantly de-risked. It's brownfields in nature. It's well understood. The people are supportive. They've got a lot of experience in mining and they're currently working mining. We've got an existing resource which is growing, and we'll get our maiden reserve out shortly. Mining studies due in the next few weeks. Misima ticks all the boxes in terms of geological settings, proven production history at high margin, and potentially a cornerstone project to build from. We're drilling Livingstone WA, results are coming, and we've got the experienced board and management to focus on developing the two assets. Thank you.